Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Paul. So in today's video, we'll be exploring every anime studio explained in 17 minutes. 17 minutes. Well, let's see. I recently just saw this and I just felt the need to check it out together with you guys. Alright, now this was done by Ari Kendo. The link is down in the description below. Please, if you enjoy what you see here, please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. So with that, let's get into it. Onegashimasu.
Studio Toei was founded in 1948, making it one of the oldest
Okay,
animation studios.
1948.
It's responsible
Wow.
for some of the biggest anime ever, like Dragon
Okay,
Ball,
I used
One
to be good
Piece,
with the
Sailor
sauce
Moon,
back
and
in the
much
day.
more. Because they've been around for so long, they have a history that I can't entirely cover, but I'll try. Toei actually helped popularize trends like magical girls with Sailor Moon, or Super Mecha with Mazinger Z, and Toei animation can generally be a mixed bag. Because they take on so many projects and have many different teams working on different productions, the quality can vary wildly. If you see that Toei is animating something, you should check the actual staff involved with that series, and that usually is a better indicator of the actual quality that that series will have. I mean,
Okay.
just look at the inconsistency in One Piece. Some of the episodes are jaw-dropping, but some are just like, One
Yeah,
of the best things about Toei
exactly.
Animation is that their workers are unionized, meaning that they are generally
Okay.
treated amazingly compared to other anime
Not
studios.
bad, that's
From what I
good.
understand, working on One Piece is a pretty smooth and positive experience.
Exactly.
Studio Madhouse was founded in 1972 and is well regarded in the anime
1972.
community for their sheer quantity of quality shows that they produce. This is
Madhouse.
mainly because the former founder and CEO, Masao Maruyama, had connections to people like Satoshi Kon, Mamoru Hosoda, and Masaki Yuasa, some of the best anime directors, and they were able to consistently pump out bangers. They've made a ton of insanely high quality projects like Perfect Blue, Death Note, One Punch Man, Hunter x Hunter, and even just
Yeah.
recently Frieren. Unfortunately, in 2010, a big split happened between Madhouse.
I think
They
they
lost
really
a lot
killed
of
it for
core
Hunter
staff.
x
In addition,
Hunter and
Maruyama left to make
One
Mappa,
Punch Man.
which really hurt Madhouse in the long run. We'll get to that later. But surprisingly, they seem to have rebuilt themselves, and it looks like they are still capable of pumping out amazing shows while still grabbing industry veterans,
I
as
have not
shown with
watched
Frieren.
this
And honestly,
Frieren.
I doubt that fact will change in the future.
I
because
wonder,
of
is
their legacy.
Frieren
However, just like
interesting?
other anime studios, Madhouse has
Please
had
leave your
problems
comments down
with
below.
overworking their employees. In 2019, a production assistant said that he worked over 393 hours in a single month. That's
What?
fucking
That is
insane.
insane.
He ended up joining a union to actually sue Madhouse for the overtime. Studio Ghibli
that
is
is
probably
crazy.
the most widely recognized anime studio in
Ghibli?
the world, and that's for good reason. Only 2 anime movies have ever won Oscars, and both belong to Spirited Away and The Boy and the Heron, respectively. In
The
1985,
Boy and the
Miyazaki
Heron.
and Takahata broke off from Toei Animation to form Ghibli.
I've heard of
along
that,
with
but I've
Toshio
not seen
Suzuki.
it.
It's worth noting that Hayao Miyazaki is pretty much the face of Studio Ghibli. Every work with his name attached
Hayao
seems to garner
Miyazaki.
a ton more attention.
Miyazaki.
Also, if you're wondering why a lot of his movies feature airplanes and casualties of war, his brother's company actually manufactured rudders for planes in World War II. Kind of explains why The Wind Rises was made. After writing his breakthrough manga, Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind, he ended up directing Ghibli's first ever movie, an adaptation of that same manga, and it was a huge success, and this kickstarted the studio's legacy. Ghibli in general is known for their high quality animation, background art, and extremely memorable music by Joe Hisashi. Ghibli films are mostly hand-drawn using watercolor and acrylic paints, and most of their movies use traditional animation methods, where
Okay,
each
they
frame
look,
is drawn and colored by hand.
a
Because
bit
of this,
Western.
their movies give off almost a cozy European vibe. They have a
Exactly.
lot of emphasis on the nature and backgrounds in each scene. I mean, seriously, look at the backgrounds in Ghibli films. They look amazing. People usually regard Spirited Away or Totoro as their best work, as they have the most critical acclaim and popularity. Personally, I think Howl's Moving Castle, Grave of the Fireflies, and Princess Mononoke are their best works.
I have
Wit
not
Studio
seen
is
any
a
of those
new
animes.
studio founded in 2012 by
Ah,
Production
Wit
G.
Studio.
The studio was essentially created for
Man,
their first project.
AOT
Attack on Titan.
skyrocketed
Yes,
them to
literally one
the
of the
top,
best
man.
anime of all time
I'm
was Wit
telling
Studio's
you.
first project. And they are also responsible
Wonderful.
for some of the biggest
It's
anime
actually their first project,
family
I
and
don't
Vinland
know.
Saga's first season. Which studio is known for their amazing action sequences with dynamic camera angles, and a lot of this can be attributed
I'm
to
telling
Tetsuo
you,
Araki.
Kai.
The action and pacing he gave to Attack on Titan's first few seasons has created some of the best action sequences I've ever seen. They've also reportedly started
Exactly,
work on a
man.
One Piece reboot.
I wish Wit
Pretty
Studio
crazy
finished the
considering One Piece
anime.
hasn't even finished, but
Well,
whatever. On
Mappa
one
still
hand,
did their
it's insane
best
to think
anyway.
that they're working on so many projects, but on the other hand, this is the anime industry, so we can imagine what these animators are actually going through. And in 2015, an interview was done with Naganuma, a staff member at Studio Wit. When they asked about his experience, he said, "It's a battlefield. Basically, what you see on Attack on Titan is what I see at Studio Wit. One comrade falls after another."
What?
What?
Wow,
What is going on
that's
with Studio
stressed
Wit?
out.
Apparently, the default
Shit.
lunch of Studio Wit members is energy bars, and they all magically revive after eating one and then go back to work. Yeah, I hope they're exaggerating because that sounds pretty horrible.
I'm
not gonna
telling you.
lie. Sunrise Studio was founded in
Sunrise
1972
Gundam.
and revolutionized how anime was made. Instead of having a production revolve around a single person, they created the
Okay.
role of producers who invested in anime together to mitigate risk. This helped them
not
create
bad.
many classics like Cowboy Bebop, Pat Labor, Code Geass, and of course,
Oh, they did Code Geass too.
they also
Exactly.
been renamed to Bandai Namco.
I love their mecha series.
As a studio, they're well known for their fluid animation sequences, which gave them the
telling
nickname
you.
Sunrise Smooth. Honestly, fire cocktail. Like Toei, because they are so big, they have a ton of smaller teams simultaneously working on their
Code
projects.
Geass,
Because of
the
that,
best
it's
of the
also a
best,
mixed bag.
man.
Sunrise as a studio
The
is
best
hugely
mecha anime
influential.
ever.
Just take a look at how popular Gundam as a series is. A lot of that can be attributed to Sunrise's great anime
Gundam.
adaptations
I have
of the
not watched
franchise.
this
In addition, they
Gundam. I
produce
need to
a
check it
ton of
out.
great classics.
Well, I've
and have
seen
made
clips here and
recognition to
there
pull in
anyway.
industry veterans. And that's not the only genre that they revolutionized. Love Live was created by
Sunrise. They did Full Metal
Panic
Panic because the animation looks almost the same. I've watched Full Metal Panic and it was so
was
nice.
founded in 1984 and used to be
Hey,
considered the
Gainax.
GOAT of anime studios. Their
Wow.
first big commercial success is considered
But
to
I've
be
not heard of them
Gunbuster, which is
recently.
still a widely influential anime, but they would end up making something that was even greater. One of these university students who founded Studio Gainax was named
Evangelion.
Hideaki, and he would head Neon Genesis Evangelion. This is one of the most influential anime of all time, and is widely considered to be the studio's best and most popular work, and it allowed the studio to keep making great projects. Shows like Karekano, Fooly Cooly, and Gurren Lagann are results of it,
Oh,
and arguably some of the
they did
best
Gurren
anime to ever be
Lagann?
created. My opinion.
I've
The
not
reason
watched
Gainax
Gurren
shows are
Lagann.
so good is because they're so creative. And a part of this idea is something called the Gainax ending, where a Gainax show will end kind of unexpectedly or weirdly. Either this is done out of an artistic or creative decision, or sometimes it's just done to meet deadlines. But the Gainax ending is known in the anime community as kind of a staple of the studio. But unfortunately, Gainax didn't last forever. Studio Trigger was founded by former Gainax staff members Hiroki Imashi
Oh,
and
wow.
Masaki Otsuka in 2011, and it definitely feels like it's carried on that creative spirit that Gainax had. They immediately came out swinging with series like Kill la Kill and movies like Little Witch Academia. Gurren Lagann, one of Gainax's later
Kill la
works, definitely
Kill.
served as the core inspiration for a lot of
Anime
Trigger's
is
early
so
works.
hilarious.
Trigger is also known for their crazy plot lines and fluid visuals, both of which complement each other perfectly. Their storytelling is often chaotic and comedic at the same
I'm
time,
telling you.
which helps their exaggerated animations sell that much more. If you want a good example of some of their recent works, Cyberpunk Edgerunners was absolutely amazing, and Dungeon Meshi is looking to be a more
I've not
grounded
watched
but still
Cyberpunk.
action-packed Trigger show. Mappa is one of the most well-known
Mappa.
animation studios today for their amazing work on shows like Jujutsu Kaisen. They were founded in 2011 by seasoned anime producer
that's
Masayo
11.
Maruyama after he left Madhouse. Due to his connections,
Wow.
Mappa was immediately interconnected with the anime industry. But in 2016, Maruyama left and was replaced by Manabu Utsuka, which resulted in huge changes to the
Utsuka.
company's culture and goals. Mappa as a studio now more has a reputation of being very reckless. They've grown extremely
Wow.
fast due to taking on a bunch of projects and still being able to deliver quality animation. But of course, when we
They
talk about
must
anime,
be
we have to talk
stressing
about
their
their
stuff.
work practices and
telling
how they
you.
get that quality animation in the first place. Everything from the scheduling, the work hours, and even the culture has been criticized at Mappa. This became a trending topic during Jujutsu Kaisen's second season. Animators
Okay.
on Twitter revealed that their time at Mappa was horrible. One person who worked on the final part of Attack on Titan said
Okay.
that they finally got to go home after 3 days.
What?
Like, Mappa, what are you doing to the animators? Let them out, please. Unfortunately,
Whoa,
Mappa
that
has
is
zero to
brutal.
little reason to stop their practices because the properties that they're adapting are some of the biggest in the world, like Vinland Saga Season 2, Chainsaw Man, and Attack on Titan. They also have a ton of connections within the industry, and that's why they're able to get so many talented animators in their studio despite the horrible pay and working conditions. I only hope that it can get better because Mappa is truly working these animators into the ground. Kyoto Animation,
Oh, wow.
also known as KyoAni, is very different from MAPPA,
Kyoto
and it's
Animation. They
considered to
did
be the gold
Naruto.
standard of workplace culture for anime
Did
studios. Founded
they?
in the city of Kyoto in 1985, the married couple Yoko and Hideki Hata have, in my research, always fostered a great work culture. And unlike other studios,
Because I know what
KyoAni
was in the
employees are
beginning songs
salary
of
and not
Naruto was
freelance.
TV
In
Tokyo,
addition, they
so
even have
I
training
don't know whether
programs
it's
for young
Kyoto
animators to work
Animation.
underneath supervisors and learn throughout their career. You might be surprised to hear that most animators aren't even technically full-time employees. But yeah, that is the industry standard. But KyoAni is very different. They have full-time employees that even get benefits like maternity leave, which is
Wonderful. That
insanely
is
good and almost unheard of in the
nice.
anime industry. Now, why are they able to
Is it
afford all
government?
this? Well,
Is it government
usually anime
owned
studios
or
make very little money, even if
do
their anime
government
does really well.
invest in
The
them
reason for this
too?
is that anime studios don't really fund anime themselves. Production committees do. Depending on the
Okay.
studio and the amount of producers involved, the amount of money that the studio actually sees after anime can be pretty variable. Mappa, for example, doesn't usually keep a large slice of the pie. KyoAni, on the other hand, he has a huge slice when they produce anime. But why is there a difference? The reason is very unique to KyoAni. In
Why is
2009, they
that?
started hosting the annual Kyoto Animation Awards in 3 categories: original novels, manga, and scenarios. And a lot of their
Okay.
biggest work have come from these contests, the most notable ones being Chunibyo or Violet Evergarden or even Free. This means that even if the anime doesn't do amazing, they still make a majority of the revenue from that anime because they are licensing those projects. And because KyoAni
Not
doesn't
bad.
have this pressure of external producers, they can also take way longer to work on their anime. That's why when you watch our shows like Violet Evergarden or Hibiki Euphonium, you can see the love and care in every single shot. I mean, come on, genuinely, look at this animation. This is some of the best animation that the medium has to offer, and all the employees are treated
Wow.
fairly.
It
It's
actually
the
looks
best of both worlds.
wonderful.
Their work culture and business model has been very successful, and I hope the best for them, and I hope more anime studios start to move in this direction. And they're
Exactly.
also known
Good for them anyway.
making people cry. I mean, if you watch Clannad or Canon, you know that that shit
I
makes you
haven't
cry, man.
watched those
A1
animes.
Pictures was created by a former Sunrise staff producer in 2005. And they are pretty interesting because their works are very variable in terms of animation quality. Usually depends on if the project has the budget and if the production schedule itself is good, but they are well known in the anime
AI
community for
pictures.
consistently
I've not heard
releasing
of.
a ton of anime, more
I've not heard of
specifically
this
light
studio.
novel adaptations. A lot of these don't
Oh,
really hold up
they
in the
did
long term, although it's not
SAO.
to say that they never release good looking shows, you know, Sword Art Online,
Okay.
Solo Leveling, and Kaguya.
I tried watching SAO, but I couldn't just get into it.
Manga Sensei, which is like, Also, in 2018, a section of A1 Pictures broke off into Cloverworks Studios, which is still managed by the same Aniplex parent company, but tends to have a much
Aniplex.
higher benchmark of animation quality within their shows. It's also worth noting that A1 Pictures has a pretty bad reputation of overworking their employees. In 2014,
wow.
a
That
28-year-old
means
employee at
majority
A1
of them
Pictures
do the
worked
same
over
thing. They overwork
600
their
hours
staff.
a month for 3 years and
What?
ended up committing suicide.
That is
This
crazy.
forever
What the
stained their
hell?
reputation. Shame on you, A1 Pictures.
Wow.
Science Saru was founded in 2013 by famous anime director Masaki Yuasa and animator Enyong Choi, who had a long history with Yuasa. Their first work as a studio was actually an episode of Adventure Time, but their first series was Ping Pong the Animation. In addition, they don't really care about the nationality of their employees, instead choose them based on their skill. This means
Okay,
that a
that's
ton
good to
of
know.
Science Saru employees aren't even Japanese. As a studio, Science Saru is known for being
Science
out of the
Saru.
box. They
This is the
experiment
first time
with
I'm hearing
really
about
insane
them.
color palettes and are not afraid to push the envelope with series like Devilman Crybaby, which has tons of gore, gay sex scenes, and a whole lot more that I can't show. A lot of their weird
Oh,
energy
wow.
does come from Masaki Yuasa, but Science Saru recently released Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, which is just as weird despite not being directed by Yuasa at all. If you want some more Science Saru recommendations, I would highly recommend Devilman Crybaby, Ping Pong the Animation,
Devilman
and Keep Your Hands Up
Crybaby.
Azuken. Also, watch out for Danzadan, which is coming out soon and is aimed by Science Saru. I'm really excited for this one. Studio Shaft was founded in
Studio
1975
Shaft, okay, I
and
know
are known
this
for
one.
their experimental visual styles. Some popular example of Shaft anime are Madoka Magica or the Monogatari series. You can immediately tell that you're watching a Studio Shaft production due to the work of directors Akiyuki Shinbo, Shino Onuma, and Tatsuya Oishi, who formed what is known as Team Shinbo. This Team
Team
Shinbo led to
Shinbo.
very distinct stylistic ideals with whatever project that they were working on.
It's Akiyuki Shinbo, Shin Onuma, and Tatsuya Oishi.
Working on. Sometimes they would use sharp color contrast, high-paced jump cuts, and even place real-world objects within the animation itself. All of this gives Studio Shaft anime a really surrealist feeling, which I think is super cool. The Monogatari series also features iconic moments like the Shaft head tilt, which is actually confirmed by Team Shinbo to be a Studio Shaft staple. Although Shaft has lost a lot of their core staff over time, including the disbandment of Team Shinbo,
Oh,
they
wow.
still produce popular shows like March Comes In Like a Lion and Quintessential Quintuplets. Ufotable?
Ufotable.
Ufotable
Alright,
was founded in
aka
2000 by
Quality
Hikaru Kondo, after he
Animation.
split
In
from Telecom
2000,
Animation
he
Film. They're well
Karu
known for their
Kondo.
strong relationship with the game company Type Moon, and they've adapted a ton of their games, like the Fate series and Garden of Sinners, as
Wow.
well as working with them to create animations for their in-game
I
cutscenes.
mean, their
Ufotable is
animation,
most
their
notable
fight
for their
sequence is
incredibly
crazy.
vibrant and colorful animation.
Nah, I
As I'm
knew
sure many
them
of you have seen
way
with Demon
during
Slayer,
when they
arguably
did
Ufotable is
Fate.
the best studio in the industry at combining 3D computer graphics with traditional 2D Sakuga. Like KyoAni, Ufotable hires a lot of their employees full-time, and is regarded as one of the better animation companies to work for. I'm not really sure where they're getting all that money from, but wait a second, they committed tax fraud? Yeah, this is something that I
What?
actually didn't know about until I made this
Oh,
video,
I
but
didn't know about
apparently
this.
Hikaru Kondo refused to pay around $4 million in taxes, and also the Japanese government made a report noting that Ufotable was suspected of misappropriating funds from a charity auction for the 2011 Tohoku earthquake. They
Oh,
never ended up
wow.
filing charges, but Kondo resigned, and because of this, he is now facing up to 20 months in prison. Top G move, if you ask me. Studio Bones was founded in 1988 by former Sunrise staff members who were bored on working in mecha anime and wanted to try more creative projects. Studio Bones is most well known for their insanely well executed fight and action sequences.
did
In
FMF.
fact, you could argue that they have some of the best 2D Sakuga in the industry right
Sorry,
now. A
FMA.
huge reason that they're known for this is because of Yutaka Nakamura, known as one of
Yutaka
the goats in
Nakamura.
animation. He's popularized techniques like the Yutapon cube, which is where debris forms cubes to show the destruction. You can see the influence of Yutapon cubes across the industry. I mean, even in The Legend of Korra, I've seen Yutapon cubes made for debris. And even now, Nakamura continues to innovate at Bones. Because of this, they've created some absolute bangers over the years, like Cowboy Bebop the movie, the Full Metal Alchemist series, Mob Psycho 100, or on High School Host Club, My Hero Academia, I mean much more. Just go through Bones' catalog. It is
No wonder they keep using that
Studio Orange
stones,
was founded by
especially in that
Seiji
My
Animator
Hero
Eiji
Academia
Yamamoto in
movie.
2004, who is well known for his works on Ghost in the Shell and Zoid, specifically the 3D animation part. The studio mainly did outsource 3D animation until 2013, when they started doing co-production with other studios to make shows like Black Bullet.
Black
But
Bullet.
then Orange started making completely new anime, with shows like Land of the Lustrous being met with great critical reception for actually having good CG. Studio Orange is so unique in their approach to 3D animation that I can genuinely tell that they understand the strengths of CG and how to play into them. Usually in 2D anime, CG is just kind of thrown in there when an object is difficult to animate, and it doesn't usually blend all that well.
Exactly.
Meanwhile, Studio Orange makes sure
Just
that
like
all
how
of their
they do
models
with
feel like they
Berserk.
are genuinely alive instead of just stiff figurines. The character expressions genuinely feel magical and alive, almost Disney-like, but with that anime touch. And this is because they don't shy away from using 2D animation to first sketch out what the facial expressions might look like. Using both mediums like this results in a product that is greater than the sum of its parts. And you can see this clearly in their newest series, Trigun Stampede, where Vash's facial expressions and movements just feel so fluid and alive. I genuinely love them. Their 3D animation doesn't make me gross out or wish that the studio had more budget to just make it 2D instead, because the anime genuinely looks better in 3D, and I think it's a sign of more 3D animation to come. And lastly, I want to say that there were a ton of other anime studios that I wanted to talk about, mainly studios like Production IG or Period, but with only 15 slots, I wanted to try and cover the most popular or my personal favorite studios, and I understand that you're mad, or, I didn't mention certain ones. Anyway, that's all for me. Peace.
Okay, peace out. Okay, this was really eye-opening and at the same time lovely to see. Each of these studios really give it their all to produce prime perfect animations, and I really love them for that. I mean, each of these animes are unique in their own way to a certain extent, and it really just adds a different level of flair to each anime. This was nice to see, but the only downside to this is that they overwork their staff and they don't really give them much. They don't really earn much. I really hope that that would or can change going forward, because these animators really need a break. Okay, I get it, they are usually on a tight schedule, but there are ways to plan certain projects where it doesn't turn out to be a total burden on the staff to the point of them committing or wanting to commit suicide. I love this video, and big shout out to Arikendo for talking about this, bringing certain things to light, and just appreciating each studios in their own way. I really hoped he talked about Production IG. It's one of the top famous ones, but still, the list in this category were awesome. There were some that I did not know about up until now, even some that I watched, but I really didn't pay attention to the production studio But that really stood out for me was Wheat Studios. Man, they really did a perfect, amazing job with Attack on Titan. I mean, I can't imagine any other studio delivering Attack on Titan the way Wheat Studios did it, because the glow up, the sequence, the animation, the looks, everything just fitted each scene and each situation very well. So that's one of my top animation studios, together with Ufotable. Ufotable delivers prime, perfect fight sequence and animation. You check out Fate series and their most popular Demon Slayer, they really kill it in each episode. It is just one banger after another. Well, I really love this video. Well, that'll be that for this. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to hit the like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.